Havel area. All right, so welcome back from your break. Hopefully you had a good break and didn't spend it like me and working. I did grade a lot of late work, so maybe you were working. Just a couple announcements I wanted to make everyone aware of if you haven't already. If you're interested in advanced placement classes, the free college credit when you take the test type class, they're having an information meeting about it today in the Commons, and your advisory teacher will have a live link as well. I was going to say something and now I can't remember. Oh, your counselor should be coming around to you, except for those of you that are seniors, pretty soon to talk about your schedule for next year already. So already it's coming up. I know freshmen, it's going to be within the next week or two because that's my advisory class. The rest of you, I don't know, but it is coming. We're almost halfway through the semester already, so already. You're like my little cheerleader. All right. All right. Another thing, just as an out there, a couple of you in here are already part of it, and I'm so excited. Is the esports gaming team, League of Legends, Rocket League, Madden, Smash Bros, and Smite. If you want to play any of those and compete against other people, please see me. All right. Today we are going to start out by taking notes. But they are like the shortest notes I'll ever give, so you can be thankful for that, I guess, maybe. Oh no. All right, if you have not started taking notes yet, even though we're over halfway done with the unit, so I put the blank packet right here. Everybody go ahead and click on the join.nearpod.com so I can get you your code, which I was working on. Bless you, whoever that was. There is your code, EJFYM. There we go. There it is. This is where you should be in your guided notes. Section 4, the geologic time scale. That's where we're going to start today. Yep, Unit 3 packets. Okay. Yep. No, that's section 1. Right packet, but further down. To section 4. How short is it? Like 10 slides. And we've been doing like 40 and 50 slides. Really? Yeah. Yes, we have. Are we only taking notes today? No, we've got a couple other things. So that's why she made it short. No, you've gone too far. Way too far, Nora. Way too far. Right. Always. Alright. It looks like most of you have it, so I'm gonna start. No. No? Mm-mm. Alright, code's right there. I'm gonna make it full screen. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 16. So should have 16, and I currently have 8.
We're coming.
Okay. You're not the only one. It's okay. Okay. Alright.
I'm here.
Okay, good.
No, I'm not.
Almost. Even though it only counts in horseshoes and grenades.
I'm in Dora.
She wants to be like you. You're her idol.
I want to be loud. You know, I actually do want to be loud. So people can actually hear me.
Yeah.
I don't have to repeat myself too much.
Alright. Alright, so what we're going to take notes on today, like I said, it's not going to be a whole lot. It's going to be geologic time, or the history of Earth itself. Not just human history, but the entire stinking Earth. So we're going to talk about how long that is, how it gets broken up, why it gets broken up the way it does, and we're going to talk a little bit about mass extinctions as well. So just the brief history of geology. The modern geology really only began in the 1700s. So we went like so many years, hundreds and thousands of years even, without an understanding of where our Earth came from, or why it was the way it was. So the Scottish physician and farmer named James Hutton, the creepy looking person from your vocabulary before we went on break, he published a book called Theory of the Earth. The whole point of his book, everything that was in it, the theme was uniformitarianism. Say that 5 times fast. You already screwed it up. So uniformitarianism is kind of like that first part of the word, uniform. So it makes it seem like everything is the same that has been going on. Josh, is there an issue? I know there is. And so everything that has been going on, all the processes that we know of, the physical processes like breaking rock down into soil, the chemical process like rain creating caves, and the biological things like cell division that we know of today also operated the same in the past. So while that might seem common sense, that wasn't always the case. People used to think that catastrophes like floods or tsunamis or earthquakes are what caused the change in lands, plants, and animals. So while it seems like a dumb moment, it didn't always used to be that way. The structure of the time scale. So we have 4.6 billion years on Earth that we have to cover. That's a lot. So talking about Earth's history in terms of years or weeks or whatever is not really feasible. But we divide it up kind of the same way. So we can divide a year into months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, whatever, right? We do the same thing with the big blocks of time. So eons are the greatest expanses of time. The eons get broken up into eras. Eras get broken up into periods. And then periods get broken up into epochs. So epochs would be your smallest amount of time. Eons would be your largest amount of time. All right, everyone good? Your silence is deafening. All right, since everyone's so good, you have 3 multiple choice questions. Let's see how you do. You can't forget everything already. Thank you, Alondra. Miss, put your phone away.
I know, right? I know what I'm doing.
Good.
I don't.
Oh, I totally forgot to hide your names. Well, I guess everyone gets to see everyone's. Thanks. I know. Ha! Now you can't.
After I answered all of them.
I know.
Because I was actually going back to my notes. I
Good,
didn't
good. It's one of those things, like, I don't grade, like, you got 2 out of 3 on this, but that way you know what you got and what you didn't, before I can
How
see
about
what you
3
don't
out
know.
of 3?
Nice. Just waiting on a couple more answers to come in. What's that? Yep. Well, I know. Yeah. So. All right. So I'll let you see your final scores. And don't worry, we'll go over them.
How did I get it wrong? Wait, maybe I'm looking at the wrong one.
Look at all the Doras. Yeah, there's 2 Doras. One with a capital, one with a lower. All right. What is the greatest expanse of time? That is our eons. All right. Eons are the biggest, greatest expanse. How old is the Earth? 4.6 billion. I tripped a couple of you up. Yep. I tripped a couple of you up with the 4.6 million years. It's billion with a B. And lastly, the epoch or epoch, whatever it's called, is the smallest expanse of time. All right. So we're going to start filling in your table, and I didn't think about this until first period this morning. We're going to be filling in your table from bottom to top. So I apologize for that. I didn't think about that when making the slides in this. Yeah. So at the very bottom, we have the Precambrian eon. Yeah. Are you confused on the Dora number 2? Hold on. Why? No.
I give up already.
No, don't give up. You just copy it. So I highlighted the yellow boxes where you need to type.
It sure sounds like me.
I know. All right, so our earliest eon is the Precambrian period. It's one of 2 eons. The eon gets broken up into kind of sub-eons. We've kind of learned more as we go along. We start out with the Hadean, the Archean, and then the Proterozoic. So during the Hadean, that's when we start to, like, our layers start to form of Earth, our oldest rocks start to cool, and we get kind of our first continental crust. We start to form an atmosphere. It is not a human-friendly atmosphere, but an atmosphere nonetheless. When we get into the Archean, then it goes into photosynthesizing, creating a little bit more oxygen in our atmosphere. The cyanobacteria appear, and then our first unicellular life appears. So anything on Earth at this point in time has one cell, and the one that's noted for creating oxygen in our atmosphere is cyanobacteria. Just like your printer or your TV, cyan is blue, so it's a special form of blue bacteria. Proterozoic, you get your first soft-bodied animals that start to appear in your first multicellular life. You could think of like algae or seaweed even. Hello. Everyone good? Wonderful. All right. Oh, this is the one that cuts off. Hold on. Let me pull up the PowerPoint because it cuts off the Cambrian. So this is the next eon is the Phanerozoic eon. We are still in the Phanerozoic eon. Yes, it does. So your bottom one, oh my God, I literally tried to point on your computer with my mouse. That was sad. I lost my pointing. Yes. I have so many screens, I just assumed your computer was one. I can't find my laser. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. So, right there is Cambrian. Right there. On the very bottom. I know. I have a few classes like that.
With you, huh?
I mean, my 7th grade class, I got 25 in there.
Oh,
Geez, that is big.
COVID.
Owen walked in and was like, my God. I was like,
Can you put it right there?
I got it right there. I can't project on both. It's one or the other. All right. Oh yeah, you're good. So Cambrian, going down from the bottom, there was a big extinction event. You'll hear it referred to as either Cambrian or the Batamian event. This is where the first mushrooms and fungi start to appear and where trilobites are dominant. If you've ever been to any sort of gift shop like a Garden of the Gods or Estes Park, and you walk into, or Cheyenne Mountain Zoo even, guaranteed you're going to find some rip-offs of some trilobite fossils. They're really big, really common in every single place I've seen a gift shop. The Ordovician, there was another extinction event. That's where the first vertebrates start to appear, so things with spines are starting to come around. During the Silurian, we get land plants for the first time. Fishes that have a jaw. Yeah, our first insects. And then it is called the Age of Invertebrates, which means invertebrates were the most common species on the planet at that time. In the Devonian, we get another extinction event. Our first land animals appear, which were typically amphibians. What are amphibians? Frogs. Frogs are a great example of amphibians. Toads, exactly. So you see them kind of bounce back and forth between water and land. Those are our amphibians. My tiger salamanders at home that I keep thinking about bringing in, they're amphibians because they're water and land bound. Yes, the Mexican walking fish. I have that at home as well. Huh? I used to. That's a lot of work. So those were the things that were really common, but it was also called the Age of Fishes because fish were the most common organism on Earth. The Carboniferous, we start to actually get trees, which I think I forgot to put up in there. Your reptiles begin to appear, so they go from in the sea to amphibians to reptiles, and we start to get fish with cartilage in them, which is kind of cool. And then Permian, we have another extinction event. Pangea is forming around this time, and it is the age of amphibians, the rulers of the earth. Oops. Get out of that. That was the only one that cuts off. All right, our next part of the Phanerozoic eon is typically everybody's favorite. This is the Mesozoic area, which includes the Cretaceous, Jurassic, and Triassic periods, which everyone always knows as dinosaurs. So in the Triassic, this is where Pangea cracks. The first mammals begin to appear. Reptiles are completely dominant, and this is our first dinosaurs. I always want to go to. I know it's childish, but they have the dinosaur museum up in Woodland Park. I always want to go, even though I know it's for kids. I would love to. I'm trying to. I offered to do a zoology class next year. Totally going to the aquarium for a field trip if we're allowed.
I'll go with you too. Can I call that class? Can I get that class?
Yeah.
What's the class called?
Zoology.
Zoology? I'm going.
What period?
I don't know. They won't assign periods till next year.
Alright, we'll make sure me and her are together.
There'll probably only be one class of it.
Okay, so make sure we're in.
Okay.
I'm being so serious.
All right. I'll take you guys. All right. So Jurassic is when we get our first birds to appear. Pangea splits apart into Laurasian Gondwana. Dinosaurs are the dominant species. Cretaceous, you get a huge extinction event. Everyone always knows that one because it's the death of the dinosaurs. Earth looks closer to what it looks like now. This is also when we get flowering plants for the first time. So all in the Mesozoic era. And don't believe your cartoons or like Jurassic Park. Things like the T-Rex and the Bronchosaurus were millions of years apart and they never met. I don't think that's accurate either. All right, and our last one is the Cenozoic era, still part of the Phanerozoic eon. That gets broken down into two periods, Tertiary and Quaternary. Those two periods get broken down into epochs. So this is the only point in our geologic history, our Earth's timeline, that gets broken down this much and this quickly. We have the Paleocene, Eocene, Oligocene, Miocene, Pliocene, Pleistocene, and Holocene. The good news about that, anytime you see something with "cene," C-E-N-E, it's in direct relation to an epoch. So you at least kind of have that. I won't make you memorize it or anything, but at least it's something quick. So in the Paleocene, this is where our first larger mammals start to appear. We get a new extinction event in the Eocene. Oligocene, mammals become dominant. The Miocene, grass becomes widespread. It's weird to think of an Earth without grass, but that becomes popular in the Miocene. The Pliocene, hominids, so our ancestors to humans, start to make their first appearance. Humans actually appear in the Pleistocene, and we have our Ice Age, another good movie, although not scientifically accurate. And then the Holocene, the one we are currently in, is where humans are dominant and the Ice Age ends. If you've ever seen the TV show Life After Humans, it kind of goes into what would happen if we all died. Yeah. And no. And so after, like, how long would Earth take to recover, things like that. So it's kind of actually interesting. So those are kind of all your things, all your different breakups of time for Earth's history. One thing I'm going to have you guys just kind of pay attention to really quickly.
Is that it?
Almost. We got one more slide. The percentage of time, so like 0.1% of time is the quaternary period. That's all of human history wrapped up into that. Huh? No. To where I'm going to go back a slide really quick. All right. I'm going to go back to another slide. To where the Paleozoic, you've got a few, like 5% of Earth's lifespan there. But then you look at the Precambrian, where there really wasn't much going on Earth. That is like 70%, over 70% of Earth's time. Over 80%, because I can't math. I'm just going back to the current slide. There you go. All right. Oh. All right, so there's 5 main mass extinctions. When we talk about mass extinctions, we're talking about at least 3/4 of species on the planet die. There's no chance of reproduction. They are 100% gone. So we have the Ordovician, Devonian, Permian, Triassic, and Cretaceous, which are the biggest ones. We have had some minor mass extinctions. We are definitely heading towards another one, a 6th major mass extinction. What? Your dinosaur ones would have been these last two, the Triassic and the Cretaceous. The Cretaceous one, if I remember correctly, that was as there was still a gap between North and South America. So our climates worldwide were completely different because the ocean currents moved warm water around differently. And that was one of the main reasons dinosaurs died, is a change in ocean currents and climate. And the long, obvious meteor. The biggest one, the one that you'd hear about the most often, that I could even see in like a PSAT reading or something like that, is the Permian, where 96% of species on Earth were killed. The alligators survived. Obviously. Yeah, there you go. All right, last little quiz, 5 questions. And I'll stop boring you soon. Yeah. What? Good.
Although I do need help.
What? Use your notes.
What do I find in my notes for my question?
Well, we just took them. Like, look at the description. The number of mass extinctions. Is that hand for me, Josh? All right. Well, then you only need your fingers to tell it.
I need help on the last one. Well, not the last one, but the second one. Where do I find that in my notes?
Look in the descriptions on the right sides. Yep. You're welcome. Hi. I'm gonna show you. Since most of you are done. Good, good. Okay. All right. Good job, most of you. There's no reason you should have gotten all 5 wrong. I could see you mixing a couple up, but definitely not all 5. All right. Yeah. All right. So in your note packet, you have 7 questions to answer. It's like an 8-9 minute video, so it's not like every 5 seconds you have to type something down. Just kind of roll with it. I'm going to start cold calling on you guys after it's done. You guys know where you are in your note packet? Right there? Yep, I'm just playing it through here.
You're the type of person who sometimes wakes up at 3 a.m. and lies in bed trying to wrap your tiny mind around the achingly vast universe and where it's all headed. Well, we have something for you. Ever since the Big Bang, the universe has been drifting and expanding. The birth and death of stars leave an aftermath of galaxies, planets, and even living organisms. This includes the sun, planets, and our solar system. At the center, the sun swept in smaller elements like hydrogen and helium. Farther away, heavier elements formed planets. Based on the core accretion model, gravity was the driver, coalescing Earth from a cloud of dust. Though Earth was neatly orbiting the sun as a rocky mass 4.5 billion years ago, no organism could survive there. Radiation from the recent supernova kept the planet extremely hot, its surface molten, and oxygen was non-existent. Plus, incredibly massive meteorites and asteroids frequently slammed onto the surface. The Earth got so hot it began melting. Heavier material sank to the bottom. Lighter stuff rose to the top. Some elements evaporated. This transformation created the Earth's layered core and mantle, crust, atmosphere, and magnetic field. Without it, Earth would be blasted by harmful rays from the sun. Before you learn everything about the Earth's history, hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This way you'll be the first to learn about updates that appear on Googleplex. In the late Hadean Eon, the Earth was still in its late bombardment stage. There is no life. Temperatures are extremely hot, with frequent volcanic activity and hellish environments. The atmosphere is nebular, possibly early oceans or bodies of liquid water. The moon is formed around this time, probably due to a protoplanet's collision into Earth. In addition, there's reason to believe that these collisions could have sparked the chemical building blocks for life, DNA. Eventually, the climate on Earth became more stable. Instead of a molten state, the Earth started to cool down. Water vapor condensed to form oceans, and the Earth cooled down enough to create continents. Vale Barra became Earth's first supercontinent. Photosynthetic organisms appeared between 3.2 and 2.4 billion years ago and began enriching the atmosphere with oxygen. Single-celled organisms consumed the sun's energy. As a waste product, this cyanobacteria eventually filled the oceans and atmosphere with oxygen. Earth now had an oxygenated atmosphere for new life to flourish, but it wasn't cyanobacteria. Oxygen was toxic for them. Much life on Earth probably died out as its levels rose in what is known as the oxygen catastrophe. Imagine a dominant species polluting the planet until extinction. Resistant forms survived and thrived, and some developed the ability to use oxygen to increase their metabolism and obtain more energy from the same food. At this time, methane was more abundant in the atmosphere. One thing that methane did very well was trap heat in the atmosphere. It's one of the most efficient greenhouse gases. So when oxygen combined with methane, it produced carbon dioxide. All of a sudden, the greenhouse effect wasn't as strong. As a result, the whole planet froze. It was snowball Earth for the next 300 million years. As oxygen filled the atmosphere, Earth's ozone layer thickened. Before the presence of an ozone layer, life was restricted to shallow water. Because water shielded harmful radiation, that's where life existed. Eventually, a thicker ozone layer enabled life to diversify on land. 541 million years ago, hard-shelled invertebrates originated in the oceans, and life got more diverse from there. Next came the age of fish, when thousands of fish species arose. Plants and fungi were the first to venture out of the water, requiring them to adapt to new conditions on dry terrain. Some fish stayed in close proximity to land and gradually adapted to life there, simultaneously developing lungs. Amphibians were the first vertebrates to make the move to land. The transition to life on land benefited these creatures because there was no predators to begin with, and food was plentiful. That was the start of the age of amphibians. Then, 250 million years ago, was the Permian extinction, which caused extinction of 95% of all living species. When Earth's climate became hotter and drier, rainforests collapsed, triggering the age of reptiles. Unanimously depicted by Tyrannosaurus rex, locked in eternal conflict with mortal enemy Triceratops. Because reptiles evolved to dry land conditions, they gained a unique ecological advantage. Also notable is that Pangaea existed as one supercontinent in this era. Dinosaurs lived on one supercontinent. Plate tectonics were the mechanism that eventually tore continents apart. Don't forget that dinosaurs existed for 160 million years, so continental drift gradually rifted dinosaurs apart. From between the feet of stomping dinosaurs, ratty animals scurry about, cue an asteroid impact, and the age of mammals begins. Mammals evolved from mammal-like reptiles called therapsids about 200 million years ago, and birds from small theropod dinosaurs about 150 million years ago. This evolution of both mammals and birds accelerated after the extinction of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, when a 6-mile-wide asteroid struck Earth just off the Yucatan Peninsula. This ejected vast quantities of particulate matter and vapor into the air that occluded sunlight, inhibiting photosynthesis. 75% of all life, including the non-avian dinosaurs, became extinct. Poor dinosaurs, imagine that if the meteor never hit Earth, we would be intelligent dinosaurs. The first true mammals evolved in the shadows of dinosaurs and other large archosaurs. When dinosaurs roamed the Earth, mammals were very small and were probably nocturnal to escape predation. And because dinosaurs went extinct, mammals emerged as the largest land animals at the time. Creatures like Ambulocetus took to the oceans to eventually evolve into whales, whereas some creatures like primates took to the trees. Then, just several million years ago, we believe that human life began to evolve. Apes remained in trees for their primary food source. Eventually, grass began to spread in places like the African savanna, and there were fewer trees. This forced apes to walk to new food sources. With their heads above the grass to see predators, apes evolved by walking on 2 legs. It also helped to have their hands available when they were traveling. Brain size increased rapidly, and by 2 million years ago, the first animals classified in the genus Homo had appeared. They were known for sharpening objects with silicon rocks. They began to master the use of their hands and fingers. In the Stone Age, early humans had fire under control. This enabled them to cook their food, giving them more calories. Modern humans, Homo sapiens, learned to make more complex sounds and share information in groups. They are believed to have originated around 200,000 years ago or earlier in Africa. The oldest fossils date back to around 160,000 years ago. And since then, humans have struggled to survive, or maybe Earth has. 5 billion years to build the Earth, and only several years to ruin it. What do you think about Earth's story? Share your thoughts.
Hi? Sorry, I'm closing out of this really quick. All right, so we've got these 7 questions to answer. I'll see how you did. Haha. All right, question number 1. What was it like when Earth forms? Who's our lucky winner? Elizabeth. I can't hear you. All right, anyone want to save Elizabeth? What was it like when Earth formed? Hi? I heard you talking about lava, Jay. Molten. Also, no oxygen. It had an atmosphere, but not a friendly one. It was super hot because we just got crashed in by another planet, which created our moon. My answers are getting shorter and shorter every class period. Like I had a stinking paragraph up there first period. All right. Water vapor condensed to form. Keeping Elizabeth on there. I'm going to remove you, Jay, because you answered the last one. You're good. You're safe. Let's see. Sir Kevin. You're thinking a little further ahead. Water vapor. Condenses into clouds, comes down, forms. Good, forms the oceans. Very nice. All right. It was. All right. Liliana, what is responsible for giving our atmosphere oxygen? Beautiful. Cyanobacteria. I would also just take bacteria for this one. Oxygen was toxic, poisonous to bacteria, so they essentially exhale it out. You also might know some of that is photosynthesis. That's right. All right. What does methane do in our atmosphere, and what did it create? Sir Isaiah. Is Isaiah listening? Isaiah? Oh, yep, that's you. Heat. Very nice. I'm going to put it in here in parentheses. It's known as a greenhouse gas. It's still one that we talk about today. So if you ever hear the things about cow farts creating climate change, it's because cow farts have methane in them, and it's the most efficient one. That's heavy. Methane is a heavy ingredient in farting. All right. What did it create? I think this is actually what you were thinking about earlier, Kevin. Created carbon dioxide and eventually snowball. All right, the next one. Where did life exist first? Good job, Isaiah. Where did life exist first? Josh. All right. Maybe you shouldn't be playing on your cell phone while the video is playing, but you know. Elizabeth. Where did life begin? Take a guess. In what? Where did they exist first? Yeah, where on Earth? The what? The water! Shallow water. The water protected the plants and animals from rays, like radiation coming from the sun. All right, why is the Permian extinction so grave? Pun intended. Alondra! Yeah.
Oh.
Why was the Permian extinction so grave?
Because it wiped out like so much.
It killed off over 95% of species, hence my pun. So great. What's that? $3.95. That happens. I should remove Valeria too. It's alright. Oh my god, my wheel loves you, Elizabeth. Good, that was correct. Third time's a charm. The rhapsids evolved into pretty much all the mammals we have today. So when you don't like the person sitting next to you, guess what? You're related. All right. Yeah, it sounds like it. All right. Any questions on your notes or any of the stuff that we went over? All right. So it is 12:13. I'm going to give you guys till about 12:20 to do your DOL. I'm going to, let me close out of this really quick. Where is it?
You know, God gave me the strength to mentor.
Yeah, absolutely. They just picked it up to clean it or clean the floor. To get it. Yeah, you'll have to feed it through the other way. There you go. Because they cleaned the floors last night. So in your DOL, I just want to make sure, please, please, please use your notes on question 4. So pay attention to your spelling. You can copy and paste right from it if you're unsure of how well you can remember how to spell. In this last one, when it says like humans dominate life on Earth in what epoch? So don't put like the Pleistocene epoch or the Pliocene epoch. Just put like Pliocene or Miocene, just that part. That way Canvas won't mark you wrong. Does that make sense? Just put the fancy term. Okay, so I'll give you until about 12:20-ish. 3.5? 3.4 DOL. It should be under today. Are you serious? Oh my gosh.
Today I'm actually doing work.
Here, I'm throwing you the charger. I'll plug it in right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Today I actually want to do it. That was so rude. Nobody used my phone for my phone. Huh? I didn't get it. Oh. Oh, look it. Jason Gomez. No, she did not.
If I look like you, I take it as a compliment. You look like me,
You just call yourself ugly?
Yeah.
Oh, you're not ugly. Yeah, I'm thinking of mine. Fine.
And they're all full, right?
Take off the S just in case. Just in case.
Miss, I'm going live on teaching them science.
Yeah.
I am. Miss, I don't think I got that question. Come on, Dora. Get your act together. Come on.
The one on the computer died.
My computer died.
Get your computer together.
My computer didn't come. Miss, you're welcome.
Wait,
I know, I swear
Miss,
I'm
what
not.
time do we leave this class? I want to go home. 35.
That's because somebody had asked me for something before Jay did.
I have to wait 15 minutes to leave this class.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Wasn't
gonna
it
die.
4? Wasn't it 4?
Miss, can I go to the bathroom? Huh? Okay. Miss, Naglia told me to go to sleep, so it's okay if I go to sleep. Miss Naglia said I could go to sleep. No. She said I could go to sleep. Don't draw my phone. It's fine.
So does anybody have spare
She's
computers?
gonna draw on my, what? What's his name again?
Spare computers in?
What's his name again? Charger?
Computer pen.
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot it.
Do you want to borrow my phone?
That's got one.
No, do you have a spare one? Is that?
Miss, it
It
was
does.
No. I was just looking for a spare one because I lost it.
great.
Take it.
Maybe I asked
Take it.
maybe I don't think I have any. Miss, I'm saying. Oh.
I might have something like
Yeah, I completely forgot my stylus.
I completely don't even have a sign. Miss, can I play a song from K-pop?
Don't play the Gorillaz version. Don't play Feel Good Inc. by Hit Box. Don't play that version. Don't.
Me, I'm well right now. You got one.
Yes. Because K-pop speakers, 15 years. Oh, no. That's the best comeback you could come up with. You lack imagination and creativity.
Huh?
You lack both imagination and creativity.
I agree.
You have the mind of an adult. And yet you have the, and yet you have the, and yet you have the knowledge of a 5-year-old.
Well, not everybody was born on the planet.
Not everybody grew up in the same community.
Yeah. Maybe she had a harder life.
So that would be like,
Yeah.
no, minus. But you shouldn't do that. We're talking about, like, if I said 20 years ago or 100 years ago.
Rock. Ham. Oh, what did you just do? Oh.
This, I don't give you that.
How did you do that?
Magic.
Ah, disgusting.
Oh, I figured it out.
So you're referencing that chart, telling you like how many millions of years ago something happened, or what
Yes, what?
period did that happen? Oh,
I think that I used to concentrate.
yeah, it is not.
I just got onto it and you clicked off it onto it with my phone. Good. Witness
Like
design.
a lot.
Witness that hurt your feelings.
No.
Get headphones in. You want to pull it out of it all?
No, don't. What did you just do? What did you just do? I'm calling the technology. Please tell me you're breaking my computer. Because you're so breaking my computer right now. Like, it's just like, what?
You're making it worse by loving YouTube.
I was
YouTube takes so much
listening to
memory.
Kids Box. And Miss, you saw me on my time.
Oh, yeah. Totally agree.
But you saw me on my time.
That's why I switched out of it before I found out the other stuff. I told you before that YouTube tonight.
No, I don't. Is it this one? Yeah. Put ban on Amazon. A ban on Amazon.
Was it 64 billion years ago?
What? What? Large mammals appeared on Earth. Oh, I agree. A lawn grass. Oh, it's stronger. Is that non-stick? What are they doing? Ah. Havani. You're in my spot, sir. It's my spot, you know. That's my spot. That's Alondra's spot. You just took her spot. That's very disrespectful. I would like to give you ISS. And OSS. And OSS. You get 1 day ISS, 2 days OSS. You can't go. Yeah, look it up online.
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, he's pretty smart.
Yeah, most of the time it's pretty good. Sometimes he's a little out there, but
Yeah, but
yeah, he is. What's up? There you go.
We were just saying how you're our favorite teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you're not my favorite teacher right now.
Guys, I am gonna turn the lights on.
Because you took off my kid box. I was gonna play WAP, Wings and Pizza.
Alright.
Miss, go give her Molly. Oh, my nerd fell.
You are a nerd.
That's why I have missing assignments.
For those of you that are done and bored, there is an assignment. I will tell you, we're supposed to see each other again on Thursday, but what do you think is probably going to happen on Thursday?
Snow day.
Well, there's a good chance we might have a snow day.
Might not even have Friday.
No, we'll probably still have Friday because it'll melt. But that's how it always happens. So, assuming there's no snow day, we'll finish this assignment up on Friday. But it's a good thing to like go and get started on it.
We have a 3 SATs on Saturday, on Friday.
On Friday, yes, is the PSATs. If you're not a senior, they're doing something for seniors in the gym, I think. I don't know what it. Oh, are they? I had no idea. What?
I was a senior. Miss, he said go socialize, not go do whatever.
No, I know, but that's just a waste of